Should we do a stumble at the ranch segment? Is it even news?
It is.
Is it important?
We have Devon Howard here, who is
as a representative of the WSL
of the World Surf League.
No, he's the representative.
Should I put on one of those?
He
What's
is
the
here.
thing you put on for boxing so you get punched in the head? Doesn't hurt as much.
Okay,
I don't know what that's called, but yeah,
what is it?
Headgear?
It has a name.
Headgear.
Sure.
Okay, I'm just curious. True to my word, I did not watch one, or I did. I flipped it on driving, stuck in traffic, 405. Flipped it on, heard Rosie and Joe talk. Hadn't started yet, even though it was start time. I could take a minute and a half of their voices before I just flipped it off. Said, I can't watch it. I cannot watch this.
I also did not watch. So this is a news story right here. Is you and I are actively engaged. We want surf contests. We like, and we still didn't watch. Did you watch, Devon Howard?
I did watch.
The entire, how long was it?
Did you sit down? Did you give your full attention?
No, I didn't. I was doing sort of chores and things. It was one of those like play in the background because I knew there was 4 minutes between each ride. I just would, okay, I'm going to do laundry. I'm going to do this stuff. And then, go look. But they were having, as everyone knows that was listening, the website, the player was crashing. So there was issues. And so I was like, man, what's wrong with my signal? Or like, I'd never experienced that. And after an hour of it crashing and watching like 400 commercials, the same ones over and over, because you have to keep like going back on, I was like, it's probably on YouTube. So I went to YouTube and had zero issues at YouTube. It played right straight through.
You can always, if you ever wonder about what you should be and where you should be watching something WSL, the Beach Grit comment live feed will let you know right away, because so many people are watching from so many different places. And so people will problem solve in their like breaking out, dropping, go here, it works here. So,
but why are we even dealing with this? Tell us what's going on at the WSL. When they launched the Facebook partnership that was supposed to be, I think, $30 million for 3 years, it failed on the very first outing.
Yep.
And they had to set up a secondary feed for it on their website directly. Now this seems to be a problem again. What's going on? Who's to blame?
Well, from what I'm not in there. No one's actually in the office. Everyone's working remotely. From what I've been told, so if you've noticed, they put up a new website a few months ago. They've switched out the player. So the way that you watch any of the live events that we do, they've changed the player, something to do with Amazon. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy, but the plugins and whatnot was not fully vetted or wasn't dialed. And as we saw, it crashed over and over. I've been told from Pat O'Connell directly that issue is completely solved. It won't happen again. They just, for whatever reason, didn't anticipate that or didn't know that was going to be an issue.
Do they care? I mean, did they see Rumble as the Ranch as sort of a beta test for live surfing in the COVID era? Or was this, hey, let's get our fan base back in? Because if this was let's get our fan base back in as opposed to a beta test, I think between the, even from the funny Agarshi, how funny it is that you misspelled one of your main guys' names on the back of his singlet. It just seemed like, truly and honestly, the World Surf League has 2 employees, Eric Logan, who's honestly in the back screen printing jerseys in between running the feed, that's the way it felt. It felt like this place is so threadbare.
2 employees, Pat O'Connell and Elo, neither of whom have any tech savvy.
Yeah.
Because the player situation, I don't even accept that as an excuse, because you guys have all but announced that you've pivoted into a media company. If you can't get the media streaming effectively for your viewership to watch it, that is the A, B, and C steps in what you're trying to do. We've talked about this on the air too, is that nothing's available. Certain things are available on YouTube versus the website, but not everything is. Like whatever lawn patrols they're doing, there's 8 episodes on the website, but only 3 are posted on YouTube, but the 3 aren't consecutive 3. It's like 1, 3, and 7. So what happened to the other episodes? Like, did you guys just forget to upload the videos to YouTube? Like, there's so much confusion. Yeah. So then, like Chaz was saying, is this a resetting? New website, new event. Let's reset, roll this all out. By the way, nobody's running tours, so we can focus all of our attention on this. And then Canoega Rock, there's 16 athletes, one of whom's name is misspelled on the back of their jersey, plus the stream doesn't work. I mean, aside from the boring aspect, which we all anticipate, it's like, it's a shit show. It's embarrassing. Yeah. It's at the point where we've been we poke fun when when there's opportunities, but it's at the point where it's like, oh my gosh, have we been right? Like, this is actually threadbare is a great way to put it. It's not good.
I'm going to real quick before you answer, Devon, give the listeners a birthday present. I've got to bounce.
You got to cancel your other meeting.
I've got to
cancel your birthday meeting.
I can't do it. But the biggest gift is people don't have to listen to me bumble and stumble longer than I normally do. Devon, I love you. David Lee.
He has a sailing appointment. Well, can you fill up our glasses?
Yes.
Yeah, leave us with
Yeah.
I want these donuts.
Thank you, Jose Cuervo.
Thank you, Randy.
So, Randy did mention if Jose Cuervo is doing something, if you go on Surfline and just go on to Surfline, click on the Jose Cuervo, you could win a chance to go to Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch.
They've been great about supporting the surf biz.
Yeah, they have. They're
really
good
have.
guys, and they actually really care about it. And I like their vibe. So,
what'd you get? A towel?
I got a towel and a tote.
Jeez
Towel and a
Louise,
tote.
dude.
I mean, I made out like a birthday bandit.
You are
Amazing.
Cuervo'd up. Cool. Enjoy.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
We'll send you this episode this afternoon.
Cancel me when I'm gone.
Okay.
You are so canceled. You're canceled for riding a mid-length.
Oh, I love it.
So, I mean, those were a few things. I think that's all, gosh, I mean, very fair criticism, and there's not a lot I can defend on it because, and it's not even me passing the buck, I'm there to help. Longboard tour director guy. I'm sort of a bit on the outside, but look, I did talk to Pat, and I brought up some of these things, and I'm like, so what's your take on it? And he's like, we can't really hide behind these issues. They're screw ups, and so what his feeling is, and the people that are still working there, is this is a time to experiment with new formats, new ideas. And he's like, some we're going to get right and some we're going to screw up, and we're looking at the Surf Ranch event and the team event for what it is. What we liked about it was that we got some kind of live sports action going, which has been lacking for a long time and hard to do with COVID. But we'd never done a teams event, didn't know if pulling the names from the hat, is that a good idea or a bad idea? And he's read the comments and he's hearing the feedback even from the surfers, of like, maybe this wasn't the best idea, and the Surf Ranch itself's already challenging. We already know, you said we know it's boring. So they're looking at, okay, if we do this again, so for example, there is an opportunity to try this over again. We do have a day set aside for the longboard tour, which is on hold as well. The longboard tour is supposed to have 4 events for this year. We have none of them. Actually, we did one.
That's right.
Did Noosa. We were really the only championship tour event that got off the ground this year. But we were unable to do the other 3 events. So it has been brought up. What if we do something with Surf Ranch? Would people be into it? Would they enjoy it? So right now we're kicking around ideas of what that could be like, and literally talking about these things you brought up, like, how do we not repeat the things that didn't work? So, okay, maybe team's not such a good idea. Maybe we go to individual. And additionally, how else could we make it interesting? And so anyone that's listening, feel free to DM me if you have a great idea. It is a blank slate. It's not for sure happening, but we have a few days that are not booked and they're open. And I do think it's a good idea to do something with longboard surfing. I've seen Alex Nose, I've seen Jared Mell, I've seen Honolulu Blomfield. I've seen a number of people ride it, and it was Harrison Roach. I thought it was interesting because that wave really lends itself to that sort of horizontal linear surfing. So what we really need to do is figure out how can we make this worthwhile for you to tune in. Is it live broadcast? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a produced show.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is trying to force it to be a live event, there's not enough drama and intrigue for us to actually set aside our day, sit down and watch it. The surfing, if you took alternative craft, anything from a fish to a longboard and whatever else fits in that, anything other than a pointy thruster that needs to go vert, that could then be interesting. And it could be we have 12 boards and we have 12 surfers and we're going to randomly draw and you have to ride that board and you can make it competitive in some way. Chaz and I have talked about incorporating celebrity, like whatever celebrities you guys are doing the podcast with now. I think it's called One-on-One, where they had John Florence interviewed Jonah Hill and Steph Gilmore interviewed Diplo. Like I would presume Jonah Hill as a novice surfer would love an opportunity to Surf Ranch. Yep. Why not get Kelly to bring Jonah up and teach him how to ride the wave? Like that'd be way more interesting, and it could be pre-produced, post-productioned, and put out there as a package. That would be better. There's ways to create content that will engage people. I don't know a way to do it live necessarily from Surf Ranch.
I think live's going to be tough. There's so much downtime. I just don't think people have the patience for that.
What I would like, if you're willing to comment on it, is what is going on behind the scenes? Like these missteps are inexcusable. With the amount of planning, time, and resources that they have, there's got to be an answer somewhere. Like there's going to be information that comes out later where everything's going to snap into place perfectly and be like, oh, Dirk pulled 90% of the funding. That makes sense. That's why the website doesn't work. That's why things weren't uploaded to YouTube, because he knew it was a COVID year. So let's just not fully fund it. Yeah, that's people's hands are tied. Of course that makes sense. There's going to be something like that. What is going on behind the scenes? I mean, dude.
I'm not trying to deflect. I'm looking at this full glass here. I might have to.
Exactly.
I don't know if I've ever had tequila before noon, by the way. But this is
here's
really good.
What I want to say also, while you think about how to respond, is, oh, sure, we'd like to do events during the downtime. We have this wave pool. Let's do it. Jamie O'Brien and his vlogs haven't missed a day of work during COVID. Ben Gravy hasn't missed a day of work during COVID. Yeah. Chaz and I haven't missed a day of work during COVID. Like all the other media companies, quote unquote, in the surf space have continued to generate content and have also pivoted. Like we're doing video now, like we've all figured out a way to keep filling the space and arguably gain market share during that time. So the fact that the one with the most resources hasn't been able to figure something out is alarming.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, those are all fair things you're pointing out. Not a cop-out, but, kind of like how Mike Parsons was the tour director for Big Wave or Josh Kerr for Air Show. With longboard, I am really outside of that mechanism. We're like these satellite programs. So I do know that there were some layoffs. I don't know exactly which roles those impacted. I don't know if that's been reported on or whatever. I don't think it's anything controversial, but almost every company's cut back 30-40%.
Totally.
Patagonia, Hurley, go down the list, all of them. I'm sure that's had some impact, but I don't think there's any really great excuse for those kind of mistakes. You should be able to spell someone's name correctly. I mean, if things are coming down. You've done things that anytime you do something at the last second, you do marketing and anything that goes to print and you're the only set of eyeballs. It's like, okay, looks good. And it's like, those things do happen, but it's unacceptable. It's like I edited magazines for 5 years. I was at Longboard Magazine, which when we were talking about how quickly life goes by, sometimes I forget I did that a long time ago.
That's crazy.
And 5 years felt like a year. If I was to go back and look at some of the issues, there's probably some nappy typos that made it through. And it's like, fuck, and you looked at it 100 times. There is the human error piece of it, but when we've been waiting that long for an event, it should be perfect, and especially in a controlled environment. And so, again, I this is directly from I was on the phone with Pat O'Connell literally before I came in here, because we're talking about the possibilities of a longboard event, trying to imagine what could it be? What could we do better? And the things he really pointed out is like, we really screwed it up with this player. We just didn't have our ducks in a row. We have, there's a new guy that came in, CJ Oliveras has great experience from broadcasts, from going all the way back to Blue Torch, if you remember Blue Torch. And there was a lot of changes made. If you go to the website, it probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but it was a pretty big overhaul. And so I don't think you're going to see that player issue again. With typos, I don't know, but
dude, if we even have to have a typo conversation again,
that's heavy. Yeah.
I mean, it's already over the top. This is already farcical levels.
Yeah.
Igarashi being misspelled. There's 16 athletes in the pool. I mean,
maybe they should just go with the social justice messages, and maybe there won't be any typos with.
What's the social justice message?
Oh, well, the surfer would have to pick it. I mean, have you tuned into the NBA lately?
No.
So on NBA, they have a lot of different social justice messages. So after they kneel for the anthem, or they exit the court during the anthem, they come back on and they have social justice messages of their choosing.
Instead of their name or in addition?
Oh, no, their name's not there. So it'll say, you pick the message.
Really?
Whatever the message is.
This is going to age poorly too.
But what's interesting, anybody who picks up on the subtleties of the humor of this, none of them say free Hong Kong on the back. It's really interesting.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, let's move on.